and welcome to the course on tribes of North and Northeastern region of India. Today we shall look at Block 1, Unit 4, Part 1 of BSW 044. Today we will be starting with tribes of Meghalaya. Now, before I begin, I would like to tell you the objective of this session. After going through this session, you'll be able to know about the different tribes of Meghalaya. You'll also be able to know about the land system in Meghalaya and also know about the matrilineal system of the tribes of Meghalaya and describe the social life of the tribes of Meghalaya. Now let me introduce Meghalaya to you. The name Meghalaya means abode of clouds. Meghalaya, that is abode of clouds. The state of Meghalaya has been referred to as the Scotland of the East because of its enchanted land of lush green mountains and the meandering rivers and its English climate. Bounded on the north and east by Assam and on the south and west by Bangladesh, Meghalaya is spread over an area of approximately 22,429 square kilometers. It receives heavy rainfall during summer months and it has a distinction of containing the highest rainfall area in the world. The forest covers are mainly tropical wet evergreen, moist deciduous and subtropical pine forest. The climate of Meghalaya is moderate but humid, with average annual rainfall as high as 1200 centimeters in some areas. Meghalaya is the wettest state of India. The western part of the plateau, comprising the Garo Hills region with lower elevation, experiences high temperature for most of the year. The Shillong area with the highest elevations experiences generally low temperatures. The maximum temperature in this region rarely goes beyond 28 degrees, whereas winter temperature of sub-0 degrees are common. The town of Cherrapunji in the Khasi Hills, south of capital Shillong, holds the world record for the heaviest rain in the calendar month, while the village of Moichram near the town of Cherrapunji holds the distinction of seeing the heaviest yearly rains. Meghalaya became a full-fledged state on 21st January 1972, the 21st state of India. It has at present 7 administrative districts, and these districts are West Garo Hills, that is in capital Tura, East Garo Hills, it is in Williamnagar, South Garo Hills, Baghmara, West Khasi Hills, Nongstoin, and East Khasi Hill, Shillong. Now, it also have Ribhoi, that is Nongpo, and Jaintia Hills in Jowai. Now, Meghalaya is mainly the homeland of 3 main tribes, the Khasis, the Jaintias, and the Garos, who follow a clan system. The Garos inhabit western Meghalaya, the Khasi in central Meghalaya, and the Jaintias in eastern Meghalaya. The Khasis Jaintias, known to be one of the earliest ethnic group of settlers in the Indian subcontinent, belonging to the Proto-Australian Mokhmer race. The Garos, belonging to the Bodo family of the Tibeto-Burmese race, were said to have migrated from Tibet. A unique feature about the people of Meghalaya is their matrilineal society. The lineage and inheritance flow through the mother's line. So, if any inheritance has to be passed on, it passes on from the mother to the daughter. The fate of all 3 tribes give allegiance to one supreme god. However, the variation in the practice is that the Jaintias have an affiliation to Hinduism while the Garo people take to worship of spirits. Now, we have talked about the Khasis, the Garos, and the Jaintias. Now, let us look at the Khasi tribes a little bit more in detail. First, we'll understand the origin of the Khasi tribe. The people staying in the plains of the Brahmaputra and Surma valleys were divided by the Khasi and Jaintia hills. Since these hills were covered with grass, it is said that the folk inhabiting these hills were known to be the residents of the plains as the people of Ghasland. Subsequently, when the Mughals fought wars with them, these hilly folk were then called Khasia. This name was current with the British, and later on the Khasis apparently accepted this nomenclature. Now, the Khasis have many racial characteristics that are common with other descendants of the Neolithic people. The language of the Mundas and Khasis belong to the same family of speech. which is also called as ostrich, from which those of the people of the Indochina and Indonesia have been derived. According to this point, these people who were originally settled in India passed gradually to the east and southeast and traversed, at first, the whole length of the Indo-Chinese peninsula and then over all the islands of the Pacific Ocean up to its eastern extremity. Now, these and many other strange similarities and affinities between the Khasi and various other tribal communities ranging from India's subcontinent to Malaysia and the Dutch East Indies. The Khasi Ho Mokyo, for example, which has projected shoulders, is an enlarged version of the Naga Ho and therefore can be traced back to singular shoulder-headed cells of ancient Paleolithic stone implements found in the Malay Peninsula, in Chota Nagpur and in different shape in Myanmar. Eastern Nagas of the Tirap, Namstik and Sonkap group and the Karbi tribe wear the Khasi type of sleeveless coat. There are Naga and Karbi tribes who erect memorial stones similar exactly to the stones like the Khasi monoliths. Further away, the Ho Mundas of Chota Nagpur also erect Khasi type monoliths and have death customs very similar to that of the Khasis. The Khasi laid great stress on the egg and its potency for divination during religious sacrifice. The same regard for the egg is also found among the Palwang Sabuab tribes of Nagaland, and it is a powerful part of their folk tradition. The Khasi language has intimate connections with the language of the Mon Krem groups in Myanmar and the Malay Peninsula, and it is thus akin to the language spoken by the tribe of Central India and the Nicobar Island. Accordingly, to the linguistic experts, these people who think in the same order when they express themselves in speech. The present Khasi language as it is spoken and written was adopted by the Welsh Calvinistic missionaries in the Roman script in early 19th centuries. Now let us understand the land system, moving on from the script to the land system. Each village in the Khasi hills has its own lands in which rights of private ownership are recognized. There are two main classes of land in Khasi hills, namely rewrite lands and rekinti lands. Now here onwards, I would like to apologize if there's any mispronunciation of the terms or terminology or practice or customs, because some of this pronunciation would be different from the way we pronounce it. So my apologies beforehand. And under these are subclasses of land by the different names in the various ilakas. Now, re-ran lands are the land set apart for community over which no persons have proprietary, heritable or transferable right except the right to use and occupy as long as one occupies and use the land. So this means that one cannot buy the land. They have to occupy as long as they occupy, but not buy the land. Now, the rewrite lands comprises of the following. Let me tell you, for example, Rishnong, Rishnath, Ri Kuna, Ri Lingdo, Ri Ramsiam, Ri Longkangting, Ri Lo Lungdo, apart from many others. Now, the second part of land, Ri Kinti lands, are also known by the different names such as Ri Kur or Ri Nongtimman, Ri Mo, Ri Seng, Ri Duat, among many others. Now, among the Khasis, there is the office of the Siam, a traditional chief. The CM administers the areas which are included within the jurisdiction of his Hima, loosely described as a state with the help of the Darbar or council. These two traditional institutions are responsible for the entire administration of the Hima. The CM and his council of ministers, locally known as mintries or ministers, have legislative, executive, judicial and financial powers and functions. Both these traditional institutions are responsible for the entire administration and general welfare of the people within the jurisdiction of the Hima. Down at the grassroots level of administration, the CM and his mintries who form the state council are assisted in running the administration by another tier of administrators, which consists of the Rangbash No or the village headman. Now moving ahead, let us understand the religion practiced by the Khasis. The Khasis are basically animist or spirit worshipper. There is no idol or image worship among the Khasis. Reverence and adoration of ancestors is integral to Khasi culture. There is nature worship among the Khasis. U Ble Nongtho is a Khasi god of creation, also known as the feminine Kale Shinsha. The priest in the Khasi clan always comes from the Lingdo clan, but with the advent of the British, a major portion of the Khasis have turned to Christianity. Now, what are the type of occupation the Khasi tribal community indulge in? Let us look into it. The Khasi tribal community is generally dependent on jhum cultivation. They also engage in other subsistence activities such as fishing, bird snaring, hunting, rearing of cattle. The Khasis are industrious cultivators. They are thoroughly aware of the uses of manures. The orange of Khasi Hills have always been famous for its excellence. Potatoes are raised on all classes of land. The agricultural implements used are, for example, a large hoe, which is in Khasi language known as mokheo he, an axe for felling trees known as usdei, a large cleaver or dao for felling trees known as kawait langam, two kinds of billhooks, kawait prat and kawait mu, and a sickle, karashi. The forest land are cleared by the process known as jhuming, the trees being felled early in the winter and allowed to lie till January or February when fire is applied, logs of wood being placed at intervals of a few feet to prevent the ashes being blown away by the wind. No manure is used on this type of land. Wet paddy land, that is hali or pinthor, implies the land where the kind of paddy required a great deal of water. The soil is made into thick paste through the agency of hoe or by ploughing. The seed is then sown in the wet mud. When the crop has ripe, they are collected and thrashed out on the shot, either by beating them against the stone, that is shokba, by men, or women treading them out, that is uikba. Now the grain is then collected and placed in large bamboos receptacle, that is known as kithiar. The paddy fields are not manured. Cottage industries and industrial arts include blacksmithing, tailoring, handloom weaving and spinning, stone cutting, jewelry making, iron smelting, beekeeping, cane and bamboo work, basket making of many varieties. They are conical shaped basket, kakho, wide at the mouth and tapering to a pint at the bottom. These are carried on the back with the aid of a cane head strap known as ustar. Manufactured goods include woolen cloth, coarse cotton, reindeer cloth, quills, plowshares, axes, silverwork, netted bags of pine apple fiber, mats basket, brass cooking utensils, bows, arrows, swords, spears and shields. Example of decorative art include metal gongs, implements of warfare and memorial slabs. These are marketed at Leudo, which is the largest traditional marketplace of the Khasi, situated in the heart of Shillong. The market is managed by the Siam or the king. Now, having talked about inheritance before, now let us look at the kind of inheritance which the Khasi tribes people follow. The Khasi are purely a matrilineal society. Khasi society is made up of a multitude of coarse term septs or class, each of which ascribes its origin to a primeval ancestor, who are known as Utholang and ancestress Ka Laubei. The descent of an individual is always reckoned and traced from the mother alone, and through her genealogical tree, it traces its origin back to the common ancestress. From the woman sprang the clan, and all descent comes from the mother only. The husband is only a Ushonka or a begetter. Now, from birth, a Khasi belongs to the Kur of his or her mother, and the stigma of illegitimacy is rarely recognized. The child is the heir of its mother, whosoever may be the father. The youngest daughter in a Khasi home inherits the property and holds the religion, that is Kabat Kanyam. Her home is the Ka Ing Seng, the center of ceremonies, and she is the guardian of her ancestral property. Other daughters are also entitled to the mother's property after her death, but the youngest daughter owns the largest share. She, however, cannot sell off the property without her sister's consent. In the event of the death of the youngest daughter, the next living youngest daughter inherits the property. Failing daughters, the property would pass on to the sister's youngest daughters. If there are no sisters' daughters, succession would revert to the mother's sisters and their female descendant. The Khasi society is a classless society in which all groups are considered equal. Even those clans which are elsewhere regarded as higher classes, for example, the Siams, that is the kings, and Lingdos, that are the priests, are hardly different at the social level from others. Because of the rigidly exogamous clan system, they can enter into marriage only with people of other Kurs. Now let us look at the family system. The Khasis welcome the newborn with all the joy that can muster. The umbilical cord is always severed with a clean edged silver or bamboo, never a knife. The baby is washed with warm water stored in a red earthen pot. The placenta is carefully preserved in another earthenware vessel till after the name-giving ceremony. A ritual is performed with eggs dedicated to water deities such as Kablei Samung and Nyangriang. Now, marriage is also one of the most important rites of the people. It is an elaborate religious ceremony that seeks the blessing of the god, the creator, U Blei Thau Bro Man Bro. The god or goddess of the state and ancestors of the clan is also worshipped. Three types of weddings are prevalent among the Khasis, that is, the Pinher Sinjat, the Lamdo, and the Ladikyat. The first two are considered most respectable. The last one is for those who cannot afford the considerable expenses incurred by the other two. On the wedding day, the groom, accompanied by his xiang or selected go-between and other followers wearing white or red turbans, proceed to the bride's house, where a great feast is laid out and rice beer are kept ready in cloths or gourd vessels. The bride's family too have a xiang who manages the wedding. The bride and groom exchange bags of betel nut, rings or other tokens. The two xiang each take up a gourd full of fermented liquor, and an elder takes it from them and solemnly mixes the contents together. 3 dried fishes are placed on the floor of the house, and the prayers to the gods begin. At the end of the prayers, the elder, officiating as priest, pours the liquor from the gourd 3 times on the ground and begins a second invocation and repeats the liquor pouring. He then adjourns the Siam and all members of the 2 clans and pours the liquor 3 times. The 3 pieces of dried fish are first placed on the timpan, the high rack above the hearth, then removed and tied to the home's ridge pole. Everyone present shouts "Hoi, hoi, hoi" with great gusto. In poorer families, a fowl is then ritually slaughtered and the wealthy kill an unblemished pig, offering it to the Snidhya and Kalaubei, ancestors of the family. 2 or 3 days after the marriage, the bride pays a visit to her husband's home, and then they are free to come and go as they like. After 2 or 3 children, the dried fish are brought down and 2 pigs are ritually offered. The Lamdo ceremony is the same, except that there are no exchanges of rings or ritual pig slaughter. Marrying within the clan would mean excommunication and expulsion from the clan. Among Khasis, divorce comes about as a result of adultery, barrenness, incompatibility of temperament, and a variety of other reasons. The Khasi rule is that divorce must take place by mutual consent. Kaminren or Kathem, as the compensatory divorce process is called, is decided by village elders. Divorced persons cannot remarry each other but are free to marry into other families. Pregnant women cannot be divorced. If the marriage has been celebrated by the Pinher Sanjad rite, a go-between or siang is required on both sides for divorce proceedings, and the ni or maternal uncles of both parties have to be the witness. The Khasi divorce has no negative impact on the lives of the children because of the matrilineal system. Raping is a unique Khasi term that literally means to help the house, which is practically adoption when female members of a family have died out. It is the custom for male members to call a family from another family to act as karaping and to perform family religious ceremonies. Now let us look at the kind of houses the Khasi live in. Traditional Khasi houses are oval in shape with wooden plank or stone walls standing on raised plinths. In the olden days, nails were taboo or sang in Khasi houses and only a special kind of wood was used. But in contemporary times, that restriction has faded. These houses have a single window on one side. A fire burns in an earthen or stone herd in the center of the room, and above, the firewood for kindling is stacked in the swinging frame. Even higher up, there is another stationary wood end frame fixed to the beam. Small wooden stools called lingnot provide seats for family members around the central fire. Drinking water is stored in hollowed out gourds or bamboo cylinders. Tableware in the house consists of the large kaplyang kinthe or the female plate and the kaplyang singreng or the male plate. A variety of rain shades or rain shields called IGNOU are used by all Khasis. Every Khasi home will have its own ustain, net bags made of pineapple fiber, the larger one for storing cowries, ones which are used as currency, and the smaller one to store the betel nut or pan, or betel leaves and tobacco leaves are stored in separate bamboo tubes. Lime for chewing with betel nut is stored in kashanan, a twin compartment metal box usually of silver. Outside the home of Khasi farmers, hollowed out logs of trees are used as feeding troughs for livestock. Building a new Khasi home has several interesting rituals. When a daughter leaves her mother's house and builds a home in her mother's compound, it is taboo to build on the right hand side, left or rear is allowed. Kinzo Hakasken ceremony is performed once a house stands complete. 3 pieces of dried fish are tied to the ridge pole of the house and family members try to jump up and bring them down. Sometimes they ritually slaughter a pig and use a portion of its skin and flesh in the same way. Now let us go to an interesting aspect of the Khasi women, that is the dress. The Khasi women wear the jensem, a 2-piece sari each of which is worn across the body and pinned at the off shoulders. A head shawl or tabmokle of the fine cloth is knotted at the back of the neck. Over these, another cloak-like garment known as kajenkup is knotted in front. In the interior areas of the Khasi hills, men wear the jimpong, a sleeveless coat which leaves the neck and arms bare. There is a fringe at the bottom and tassels in a row across the chest. It is festooned by European-style frogs in front. For headgear, the elderly Khasi males wear a cap with ear flaps. The younger males wear a large white, well-tied turban on their heads. Residents of the Siam ship and the northwest part of Khasi hills wear red knitted worsted caps. They also wear a small cloth around the waist and between the legs, one end of which hangs like a small apron in front. Generally, ornaments of gold like necklaces or finger rings studded with precious stone is worn. They also wear large beaded gold and coral necklace called paila. The gold beads are hollow and filled with lac. Even men wear these necklaces on gala occasions. the Rupatili or silver collar, a broad flat silver band which hangs down the neck in front and is secured from behind, is worn by men and women. Men wear silver chains around their waist and the women around their necks, flowing down almost to their waist. Gold and silver bracelets are worn only by the women. Now let us look at the musical instrument. The traditional musical instruments of the Khasis blended with their songs and dance. There are many types of flutes and drums, collectively known as Sing Shirang or Sing Kenthe. Drums act as a percussive beat layer for any music form and are also used to proclaim an event and call people. Tangmuri is a kind of flageolet. Shaw are cymbals. Nakra is a big drum. Siang Padya is a small drum, but Besli or flute is for solo recital, and other wind instruments like the Sharati or Shingwang are for sad and joyous occasion. Duitara is a two-string instrument played by strings with a wooden pick, and the Dimphong is a bamboo reed instrument. Now let us look at the monolith in the Khasi community. The strained monoliths or memorial stones of the Khasi and the table stones, the cromlech, are found almost everywhere in cluster or standing alone, which are thought to be endowed with mystic powers. The Khasi call them the Nemo, which means to mark with a stone. They are, however, not restricted only to being a memorial to the dead, because certain stones are known as Muanlu or salt stone. Others are named Mosmai, the oat stone, Moflang, the grassy stone, Molinti or Mozza, erected as seat for spirit of departed clan folks when the remnants are taken to the cromlech. Mobina or Monam, to commemorate a parent or near relation. Mo Shongthai or flat table stones, placed in marketplaces by the roadside to serve as seats for weary travelers. Now in regard to the food habits of the Khasis are simple rice, which is their staple food, but whenever it is not readily available, it may be replaced by a diet of millet or maize, which may be mixed with rice. Wheat form a favorite item in the diet, and fish is welcomed. For condiments, they may use a paste of fish preserve known as tungtap, grounded with onion, a lot of chilies and the ripe berries of a particular type of tree called jiwar, that is a different name, and also a variety of cheese prepared from fermented soya bean. Cold boiled rice wrapped in a leaf known as kajashong, and kipu, a kind of a cake, u shoplang, a tuberous root eaten raw and in season. Pickled bamboo shoot are also relished. Pork and beef are the chief delicacy and part of daily meals. They also eat the flesh of almost all wild animals, including field rats, a kind of monkey, tadpoles, or hairy caterpillar. Certain taboos about food exist among varied Khasi clans. Tera Siams cannot eat dried fish. Milim Siam must not eat the god, and some Siamle groups are forbidden to eat the Kahalani fish, and the Khar Nuit clan of Kirim is debarred from pork. Now the Khasis also have certain games which they consider to be a part of their culture. The Khasis have many games integral to their culture, but the most popular is archery and could be called their state game. Today, archery competitions are a regular feature all over the hills. Other popular games are wrestling and Ia Turmasi, in which two men rush into each other like bulls and try to knock the other down. Now in regards to the festival, the time when work in the fields have ended is a time when the rural folk can relax and organize sports and communal feasts. The most celebrated festival is the Shat Nongkrem, or the Nongkrem dance, which is held at Smith, the seat of the Siam, that is the seat of the king of Kirim. The goats are sacrificed during the religious part of this annual festival, which is called Pomblang, where dedication to the patron deities of the Siam are done and are followed by dances performed by unmarried damsels, clad in richest silk and adorned with a fortune in gold and silver ornaments. Now, as I've mentioned, women wear gold or silver. Here also they crown their braids with fine silver and then it falls through the waist, and gold earrings, red coral necklaces are also worn. Now, having talked about all this, it is time that we take on to other aspects. They all take part in the arena in front of the Lingsat, the residence of the high priestess, while young men in their costly ceremonial attire, holding a sword in one hand and yak-tail whisk in the other, dance round them to the piping of the flutes and the beating of drums. This kind of festival lasts for 5 days. Now, this is about the dance. So, we can also say that in the annual spring dance performed to celebrate harvesting and sowing, women dance demurely in the center of a ring while men circle them on the outside with swift, energetic, galloping movement. Now, this kind of celebration is usually held in the month of April, which is very auspicious for them. Now, with this we come to the end of the session where we talked about the Meghalaya or the state of Meghalaya, and especially the Khasi tribe. We will learn more about Meghalaya in the coming class. Thank you.